Hey man, hope you're doing alright. So, I just woke up about 40 minutes ago, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's quarter to 5 here. Um, and I was a bit restless. I was just thinking about shit, and I was just gonna go on my phone. I was gonna just waste like however long just going on my phone, like playing, I don't know, like fucking Mario Kart Tour or something, like just something to take my mind off existing, and just like going through the issues that I have in my head. And rather than doing that, I actually decided to start writing everything out that I was feeling. And it's kind of everything that I've been thinking about and reflecting about over the past like 2 days or so. It's week 32. This is what I look like. I haven't been to the gym since last week, I believe. That's. I think I went to the gym after I recorded the last one, but that was like on like Friday or something. But yeah, I haven't been to the gym since then because I've just been focusing on my work and just getting that done. I think I'll potentially be going today. I recently watched Hamza's video on why you can't get work done, and so I've made myself like a schedule of the day. Like I made it last night. And I laid down, like I'm gonna get up at 7, and I'm gonna go to bed at 10, and that's probably achievable and workable. And it's and I've factored in two meals in the day, and I'll probably have each one be like 1,250 calories, and they'll be big meals, but I'll have about an hour after each one just to relax, and I factored that in as well, into the times allotted to doing work and stuff. And I think ultimately the good thing with that is that I can spend the time where I can, like, if I stick to that schedule, and some days when, I don't know, I have to go shopping or something, I can replace one of those times that I had allotted to doing work for just going out and shopping, or, X, Y, and Z. Say I need to meet some friends, I need to hang out or something. And just like the gym, like, if you have a cheat day or something, it's okay, as long as that cheat day is accompanied by the rest of your life being healthy. And I think likewise, if I can get myself in this routine where I consistently, day after day, get work done, then I can really just relax when I do choose to just have like some days off. Because I was talking to my friend, and we were saying like, our fear is that if we do become more disciplined, then we won't have more time to see friends, and we won't have more time to like go and do the things we want to do and like hang out with them. But that's not true. Like, we're already not disciplined, and so what's the position we're in now? What, we're unorganised and stressed with our work, and we still can't seem to find enough time to be with our friends anyway. And becoming disciplined like this would allow us the space to be able to go, sure, yeah, I can go and see my friends today. Like, do you know what? I can have that weekend off because I've done all this work in here. So in that way, like, it's typical and it's obvious for a lot of people, but yeah, discipline does equal freedom in that way. So now I'm jumping into doing this schedule. I've been a lazy fuck all my life, and I haven't really stayed disciplined with anything, really. I've dabbled a little bit here last year with a little bit of that, but that was like, for a matter of a couple of weeks. Maybe not even that. So, I think it's understandable, but I don't stick by it. This is like flipping from, like, yesterday, I woke up at like 1 and just spent like maybe an hour or two just on my phone, and then got out of the house and just like was mulling about, not really doing anything, and then got out of the house and then was going to go get some food, and then it wasn't open, so I just milled about some more. So this is coming from someone who isn't even like disciplined at all, and to be trying to jump into this disciplined routine, it's inevitably going to be that I can't instantly mesh into it, and I accept that. But I'm still going to give it a try anyway. I'm still going to repeat it and still slowly work myself so that I can get into it. Because what's the alternative? What I don't learn discipline, and then I find it harder to even get assignments and done. At least this way, I'll be failing, but every day I'll be failing a little less, and every day I'll be working a little bit more. And the only reason why I wouldn't do this is because I'd want to shy away from the fact that I didn't get enough work done. And then I'll sit, it will come down to the last minute and I'll go, oh fuck, I should have started this sooner, and then I'll just have to cram, and I'll have to not do anything for like a week, just straight. I'll just have to sit inside feeling anxious all the time, trying to just rush this thing and feeling bad and annoyed that it isn't as good as it could have been, but I just gotta put up with it. So the best thing for me to do is actually learn discipline. The second thing that was the thing that I was thinking about now, and it was throughout my life I've been constantly motivated by fear. Now in psychology, you probably learn this in like A-level psychology, for instance, with a lot of exam boards. There was a guy called B.F. Skinner, who designed some experiments based on, I think, operant conditioning. And in it, there are two motivators. There are two ways to condition someone into doing something. There's positive conditioning and there's negative conditioning. They might not actually use these specific words, and I might even be mixing them up. So take it with a grain of salt. Go and look it up on Wikipedia or something. But positive conditioning is when you condition people based essentially on praise. It's essentially a way of getting them to do things because you reward them for it. Negative conditioning is where essentially the reward is to not have a bad thing done to you. Well, that's the second one is negative. So positive conditioning is where I don't know, in the experiments he got, I believe it was pigeons, or just general birds, to press a button, and then they would get a little nut or like a little bit of food, a pellet or something. And then there was also the negative conditioning where the birds would receive shocks, like zaps or like electric, and if they pressed the button, those zaps would temporarily go. And sure enough, the birds in both the different groups learned to just press the button. Yeah, there was also a third one, which was quite interesting, where he made it unsure whether or not the bird would get the pellet or not. And this is seeming to reflect the gambling, because the birds got addicted to just pressing the button. I believe they'd get to the point when they wouldn't even care about the pellet. But in that psychology, it would be hardwired, like, oh, I need to press this enough times because I'm not always going to get food, so I need to always press it. Which is a really interesting thing. So that's a different thing for a different topic, but that's also a side element that's interesting about gambling and about scarcity and how precious we can make. Obviously there were birds, but it isn't hard for us to see that reflected in ourselves, and to see how when we think things are scarce, we panic and we don't act naturally. We get neurotic and we start doing things that are more like unnatural. I mean, it's natural because it still occurs, but we're not acting how we would if all things were like perfect and fine. And that element of scarcity does talk about it. It's involved in the second bit that I also want to talk about. And the second bit was that throughout my life I have been essentially motivated from fear, from that negative conditioning. I say this without any malice or any hurt or even hatred or anything like that anymore. Although I've certainly felt those things before, but we've been able to come together and reconcile and be able to overcome it, and that's fantastic. And I'm so proud and so happy that I've been able to do that, especially as it was from my mum's point of view. But my mum did condition me particularly through this negative conditioning. There was always a fear. Oh, if you don't get this done, then this will happen. Oh, if you don't get your homework done, then you won't be able to get into university. Oh, if you like don't get this thing done, then you'll never have any friends. Or if you don't do this, then you'll end up really alone and sad and without any friends in the future. Those are all the things that my mum used to say to me, and it just doesn't. Again, people can be conditioned by it. People do get conditioned by it. I believe that's probably what my mum learned from her mum. But it doesn't suit me. It doesn't help me. It only made me sit there more and more, and because I already doubted my capabilities. Like it's kind of fine, somewhat, if you don't doubt your capabilities, because then you can think, oh well, I'm capable of doing that. Okay, I'll just get that done, and that's where it's kind of healthy and it's okay. And you can use negative conditioning, because at the end of the day, I still use negative conditioning, but it's on the things that I think I'm capable of doing. Like in a way, yeah, like that with the idea of like, oh, if I don't follow being more disciplined, I'm just gonna be like, I'm just not gonna have as much time to do the things I want to do in my life. Plus, I won't be able to see my friends. So therefore, if I be more disciplined, I'll have that time to do these things. Now, in a way, you could see that as negative, because it's like, I'm like saying, oh no, you have to avoid this thing. You have to it's almost like I'm scaring myself in a way and into not doing it. But it's because I feel capable that I can actually change myself. So perhaps there is a bit of a slight blurring of the lines here, but that is a negative conditioning where you're conditioned based on being scared by things, and then going, oh, I don't want that future, therefore I'm gonna do this thing. And it's not that you're motivated to run towards anything. It's not that you're thinking, oh yeah, oh, it would be fantastic to have that type of life. Oh, it'd be great to be able to travel to that place and to have the money to go and do this and do that. Negative conditioning is more like, oh, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. Oh, I don't want to see that. Oh, I could be there, but if I keep on doing what I'm doing, I'm going to end up there. I don't want to be there. And that's fine. But for someone who underestimates their own capabilities or doesn't believe that they have the capabilities there, fairly or not, to be fair, it puts you in a place where you're scared. You're going, oh well, if I'm not capable of this, if I'm not capable of improving, and this is the future that I'm faced with, well then that's the future I'm going to face, and it just puts the future in a negative spin. And no wonder you end up depressed. No wonder you end up not doing anything with your life, and no wonder you then resort to trying to feel this kind of scaredness or this kind of deep sense of dread about the future, about your life. No wonder then you just go and spend it playing video games or doing this, that, and the other, because you're hiding away from it. Because if you can't do anything about it, then there's no point being sad over it. You should probably just find things to distract yourself from the impending doom you're going to meet. So I've spent a lot of my life being motivated by fear, and I've spent a lot of my life hiding away from how I feel, distracting myself because I didn't think I could do anything about it. And so I think I've gotten to the point when I've read books like 3% Man, the kind of dating book, and I've read maybe roughly about half of like How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I've read quite a few like other books here and there and stuff. But I realise I'm still using that same programming. I'm still in my head thinking like, oh well, if I don't go and do these actions, then I won't find a girlfriend, or I won't be able to like sleep with lots of like amazing women, or all these things, or like oh yeah, no, I'll end up without any friends in the future, and I'll be lonely and sad and scared. So I've still been using the same kind of thing where I've been thinking, and it doesn't just do the books. It's even just like I'll walk down the street and I'll see some people and I'll think, oh no, I have to smile, because like if I don't smile, then like they will see that I'm not being friendly, and then if they see that I'm not being friendly, then there's less of a chance that we could like bump into each other and like start chatting, and they could become a new friend, or and this has stood me in really good like positions. For instance, some of the friends I made, like, you could maybe say it's down to this, but equally, like, that isn't the only form of conditioning there is. There is this positive conditioning where you think, oh yeah, no, having friends is great. Well, if I go and talk to these people, something might happen. We might become friends. Something might not happen. But at least if I go and talk to them, and if I like, you know, give on like just my best self to them, at least they will like. There's a chance that we could become friends, and then so on and so on. And that's exactly what happened. Like last semester, I spoke to 2 people at the bus stop, and I just got to chatting with them, and then they invited me back to like have pizza at the place where they were staying, and then I ran into like the girl who single-handedly like one of the people who's like transformed my life, and in really being able to feel like love for other people, and seeing that I can naturally love others. This is the girl who I've been talking about previously, and then you guys might be able to stitch 2 things together if you've watched enough of these videos. But yeah, I know. She's also the friend I'm on about now. But she's single-handedly like someone who's really shown me like that I'm capable of giving love, and love can be so fucking easy. You just need the right one person, and she's a beautiful being. I love her so much. But yeah, like in that way, I've always and yeah, it's this ingrained in me. I feel like most days I do feel anxious to go out, because I'm thinking in my head, oh shit, like okay, no, you gotta smile at everyone like when they walk past, and you got the energy to like do that, and then you gotta like open to conversations, and you gotta. And I'm just like writing all this like to-do list out in my head when I just need to go to the shop to get some fucking milk, bro. Like it isn't this deep, but I'm in my head. I'm going, okay, I need to do this, and like, oh no, if I don't do that, then and I'm thinking to myself like, oh, and if I don't smile at them, or if I don't try and like have a conversation with someone, then like my socializing will be like decrease, and like some of this might even be true in a way, like, but putting myself in that position is definitely going to make it the case. Like, I don't need to start a conversation with every single person I come across in the supermarket. That comes across as weird. Sure, like, it'd definitely be great to be able to see like a pretty woman, and to be able to just like approach her and like get her number, or even just have the confidence to like when I'm out, like just with friends, and we're at like a party party, or there's like a get together, and there's like a cute girl that I like or something. It'd be nice to have that riz, or and I need that. At the end of the day, you need that. You need to be able to be that way. Otherwise, you won't get a girl. If you can't talk to a woman, then you can't get a woman. So I do need these skills. But there's probably healthier ways of going about it. That isn't just, oh, if you don't go and like smile and like look at this person and maybe try and like start a conversation with them, then like you'll never get a girlfriend, or you'll never have like a partner that you could spend the rest of your life with. You know, like. I think it's fair. Like sometimes I do need to kick up the arse, and it is. I'm not saying that you shouldn't just test yourself, and you shouldn't go out there and you shouldn't like get out of your comfort zone a bit. I'm not in any way saying that. The ways I've grown so much is by pushing myself out there. I spent last year, last academic year, I just spent it because I'd go to because the uni campus that I go to is like on a 40-minute bus drive, and so I'd always try and start a conversation with whoever was at the bus station. Just go, oh, where are you going? And just naturally just keep on asking questions. Just keep on being curious. See what they're up to. Maybe even like, as I see it, like maybe even start some mischief in a way with them, if that makes sense. Like with them, not at them. But yeah, like find something that you guys can both smirk at and giggle about. That's lovely. And I'm not saying in any way that you shouldn't do this, but I am saying that perhaps in my life the motivator can be something like, for the most part, it should be one of positive reinforcement and conditioning, not negative conditioning, not negative reinforcement. I should be running towards things more rather than running away from things more. Because when you're running towards something, you know what you're doing. You're running towards it. You can see the goal. You can see it. You can reach it. When you're just running away from something, you're not looking where you're running. You're just running anywhere. And just like in life, that's exactly the same. It's just, oh, don't do that. But do what then? What should I do with my life? Where should I go with my life? What should I do with my life? If you're following negative reinforcement, you don't know. You just don't want to be there. But in order to run away from something successfully, it's often pretty good if you have a plan on where you're going to run to and where you're going to go. So yeah. And I realised that I've relied on this negative reinforcement, and I still do. And it's made me realise that like I've essentially created a persona or like a character which I feel like I fulfill when I then try and socialise, because I'm thinking, okay, you know, like, oh no, you need to be confident, you need to be outgoing or something. Okay, just act this way. And the way I think about it in my head is I think that I've like almost created like this mask, this like charisma mask, which I put on when I socialise with people. Cool, say a couple of jokes, give a, like a cheesy smile, kind of get that kind of like, you know, like kind of James Bondish kind of like thing. I haven't done it for a while, and it kind of works. It does. But again, like it feels like a mask, and what returned to me like this morning, and what's returned to me before, I just haven't really put it into words, and I haven't been able to see it as words, like understand it as words in my head, because I haven't listened to myself and just let myself write and think. Is that I was like I've been constantly thinking, oh, well, like this is a mask, this isn't me. Like, what if they see me? What if one day I can't keep that energy up? What if one day I can't, like, the charisma mask slips and they see this introverted side and they see this side that they've never seen before? Like, they wouldn't know me. They wouldn't feel like they could know me. and I've been really scared of that. Like, and it's what's made me like recently, yeah, like again, like not want to go out and socialize because something, oh yeah, no, but if it slips, like, oh, then people aren't gonna like me and all this shit. And I was really thinking to myself, like, this at core comes back to a thing of like, I feel like if I don't scare myself into doing something, I won't do anything. Like, I feel like I need to scare myself into being sociable, because if I don't scare myself, if I don't think I'm never going to have friends, so therefore I should do this, I'm never going to do it. Like, I'm not going to make friends. So it's like, I feel like I have to scare myself in order to do things. And I think I even came to this realization like last year, or maybe even before that, like maybe even a couple of years ago. But I couldn't come up with an answer. I was like, well, yeah, I guess I just have to just deal with the scaredness. Or I was thinking, well, no, I can't come up with an answer now, so I'll come up with an answer in the future, which is fair. Which is fair enough. But yeah, like, I've spent like so much time, yeah, like I didn't know how to answer this essentially. And so what I realised though was that just because I don't do a lot doesn't mean like that's a failure on me or anything. Like, even if I was to live my life where I was happy and just happy, like working in Greggs, like, I don't have to be like some kind of billionaire, like super successful rich person who has 50 yachts and has 50 hot women that are 20, like 2 or 3 or something. Like, I don't need those things. I've seen all these things as signifiers of like that I've made it. But kind of seeing shows like Vinland Saga, or seeing shows like, or like hearing about, you know, like the Stoics and how they say you don't really need much for a happy life. I guess maybe even having like some insight into the people who are successful in these ways. Like, they still struggle with things. Like Marcus Aurelius, like, you know, he said like you don't need much for a happy life. And I think, yeah, particularly seeing like, yeah, shows like Vinland Saga where like they're just at the moment they're just fucking working a field, and like they're still finding fulfillment in that. And like, and seeing like, mostly actually like in Vagabond, I haven't read it all, but I've seen that maybe towards the end it's like Miyamoto Musashi essentially like gives up that kind of life, and he like just dedicates himself to like defending a little village. It's like he was probably one of the most famous people in like the whole of Japan. Like, it all points to me to say that like, well, success really isn't that. Like, I've always known that, but at the back of my head I've been like, yeah, but I haven't known any different. It's like, of course that is still like underlying like some form of success, but no, like even if I didn't do a lot of my life, like if I really don't scare myself into doing things, am I still gonna do things? Well, yeah, of course. Like, it isn't like humans are just these things that like are motivated by fear and don't do anything unless they're scared. There's plenty of things people do. People make music, people make art, people get bored and create these artistic things that like to pass the time. We've tried like rituals and songs and dancing and all this because people got to a point where they, well, I don't really fully know, but I think people must have got to a point where they'd be fucking bored of sitting around the same campfire doing nothing. You gotta spice it up, you gotta give some playfulness to your life. People just naturally do that, kids naturally do that. We're all far less scared, and Like we're all far more creative than we really realise. Of course I'm still going to do things with my life if I'm not motivated by fear. Would it be maybe nearly as much? No. But I'm still going to do things. And I realise that yeah, I mean, ultimately that's more successful. The point that success for me is feeling like you're in control of yourself and you can control where you are in life to a certain degree, like in a stoic form of success. And you can do the things you want to do, and you can accept where the gods decide otherwise. And success is also being able to, for me, success is being able to walk into a room and be genuine and smile and be open and honest and connect with people to make them feel connected to. Half an hour, jeez. And that's what success really is for me ultimately. And which one's gonna allow me to be more like that? Is it gonna be the Tom that constantly pushes himself into new things because he's scared that if he stops pushing himself, if he stops running, he's gonna fall and collapse? Or is the Tom that who is going to be able to be, who's going to have that space for peace and be able to connect with others and make them smile and laugh and joke with people and be aware of people's lives and listen to them and make them feel connected and understood too, and have someone who they feel genuinely cares about them and wants to listen to them? Is that person, is the Tom who is happy with himself, who's content with doing the small things? Is that Tom going to be a bit more receptive? Oh, of course he fucking is. Now instantly, in my head, I'm thinking oh yeah, no, but if I accept things, then maybe I won't be as rich as I could be, and then I can't and that's all understandable. Again, I probably won't be I probably won't talk to as many. Well, I don't know. Maybe I definitely won't get myself into positions where I'm hanging out with billionaires, or I'm around 50 beautiful women, all there, all dressed scantily or whatever. But I don't need that. I don't need that, and I wouldn't be happy if I was there. Even if I don't do much with my life, I can still be happy with that. And I know that the opposite would be that I'd feel like I'd have to do something with my life and I'd be miserable, because I wouldn't be just doing what just naturally kind of comes out of me. I'd be again forcing myself, I'd be running forward, running into things that I don't need to do. So I think that's the thing, it's okay for us to have lives that aren't successful in the sexy and glamorous and aspirational style. A really successful life is to be able to be happy with yourself, and to be able to control yourself, and to be able to understand yourself, and to be able to share your understanding and allow for other people places where you can truly connect with others. That's a good life. That's a successful life according to me. Maybe I would just wake up and get a bit of work done during the day, but not do too much, and then play a little bit of a video game for an hour a day, and that would waste time, it would waste brain energy, sure, but I could put it down after an hour or so. I don't know if I said this in the last video, but there was a really lovely bit in The Art of Loving where Eric Fromm's talking about the type of guy that kind of like just lives moderately, but like enjoys his pleasures moderately. A walk here and there, a nice little bit of like an ice cream, maybe a nice bit of cheese. Maybe just going and seeing cricket being played in your local area. Being able to sit on a hill in the summer and just feel the wind. We can entertain ourselves with all these like little things. We can be happy in them, and we can live in such a way where we enjoy them, but we don't rely on them. You can enjoy things without relying on it for it to bring you happiness, because you just have a multitude of things that you find enjoyable, and you have a purpose that's higher than yourself. And I think that's the thing. I don't think I need to push myself. I think I just need to let myself. So yeah, I mean this is all fucking coming out of me like half of everything I've said now is written there. The other half is just expressed in saying things. I think I don't know. I think this is probably one of the most valuable things that I've realised. And I hope it was really helpful for you as well. I hope it's given you a new perspective. I can imagine my life now in the future being where I run some kind of moderately successful business. It never takes off. It never becomes some kind of national thing. Or maybe at best it becomes like a little niche national thing where, you know, maybe there's five of these, I don't know, like co-op shops, what I mean is like a worker co-op, and there's like, I don't know, maybe like 5 around the country or something, or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe I just become like some kind of little YouTuber, or I don't know, anything, whatever I decide. Or I do DJing, but I never get known, or I do all of these things, but I never reach excellence in them. In my own sense, I could probably reach excellence. Maybe I don't need to, again. I think the only thing like this would maybe go against, well, firstly it goes against like a lot of hustle culture and all this stuff, but the only thing I think this maybe goes against is the idea of like following your purpose and letting everything else be crumbed away at, but your purpose and following your purpose. This is the only thing that I could think that could like come into conflict with this. So I'll think about that. I'll see if I can reconcile them and see if they can find a way to overlap each other and be conjunctive and enhance each other. Find where they're both saying the same thing, just in different words. But yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking anyway. I can imagine a little future where I could do a little small thing. It's all about moderation, but a moderation which is just it's a moderation where I don't want anything else. Yeah, I've done enough of that. Had that little thing. Done a little bit of that. Don't really need much more. And I think also being able to be in this position where I accept that I'm not like gonna be some fucking ridiculous person up here. Like, that's fine. It's fine. I'd be so much happier with myself, so much more fulfilled, and so much less feeling guilty and sad about myself. It doesn't mean that I don't have to go for those things. If I really want to become the best at something, like, sure, like I can go for it, but that's all. It should all come from positive reinforcement. It should just all naturally, organically come. It did. Maybe I'm rejecting negative reinforcement too much. Maybe at some point I'll come to understand as well. I think it definitely probably plays its own role. And for instance, it plays a little bit here and there. Like with health scares, like it's reasonable to think, oh shit, like if I don't do this, then like I'm gonna have a heart attack, or like I'm gonna do like. It's okay, but you shouldn't let it rule you. Maybe like you shouldn't let positive reinforcement rule you, but I don't know. Not sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's just how I feel. But yeah. Anyway, I'll talk for way too long. Well, no, I haven't really. I've talked for the most amount of time I need to. So yeah, the takeaways from here are that success for me is being able to be connected to the people around me, to show them humanity, to recognize them, and empathize with them, and make them feel like there's someone connected to them in the world. That's what success is for me. And I think that I can do that much, much more than if I was to. I feel like I can do that much better if I was to just live and accept how much I can do. If I just live by positive reinforcement, where I plan out what to do and I just humbly get along with it, and don't have to expect myself to do anything grand in order to be a person, in order to exist, and in order to have a good life. I think I'd be far less happy if I was constantly forcing myself into situations. But obviously the caveat is that like you've still got to push yourself out of your comfort zone as well. But that can come with positive reinforcement. That's, if you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you can grow in this way. Obviously you could say, like, the caveat is like, well, why isn't right now good enough? Okay, and I don't know, maybe we need to explore that at the same time, but yeah. I guess the takeaways from these are that I'm trying to keep myself more disciplined, so I actually have more time to do things. Equally, I'm also not trying to force myself into things that I don't, out of fear. I just want to let myself be enough and be happy with doing enough. As long as I'm actually happy, as long as I can wake up in saying all this, like, I'm not saying like, oh, I should just resort to short-term like pleasures and gratitude. I shouldn't just like play video games and just like smoke weed and eat shit like all day, and then like not do anything with my life. I'm not saying that in any way. What I'm saying is, I can imagine myself in the future waking up in the day, already having like a schedule, already having like a thing going on. So I get to that, but I don't allow myself to indulge in any of these like short-term pleasures. And when I do, it's like a little bit here and there, but my life isn't dedicated. I'm not doing them just to get like dopamine, and then relying on that dopamine to keep me ticking throughout the day. I can wake up, get a little bit of work done, work a little bit towards the goals that I've set myself, be happy with what I've done for the day, not expect anything grand, not expect myself to be some billionaire in the future and have 50 beautiful women all around me. I don't need any of that stuff, and I wouldn't feel good if I was there, because I'd be constantly trying to chase something and feel like I'm lacking something. Desire isn't about a lacking, or rather, you can conceptualize it as lacking, like in the Freudian Lacanian sense, where desire is about chasing desire itself, where it's about seeking a fullness. But you can also think about desire in the Deleuzian sense, where desire is just, it's a productive, it's a 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. I go and do these things just because I want to, just because it's a bit of positive reinforcement, just because It's great to work towards building your own little business. It's great to be able to supply people with affordable food, or it's great to be able to empower people in a workplace and help others become empowered around them. And I think that I can live in the future in such a way that I am okay with just like, I don't have to be God. I don't have to be this like super amazing chat guy that's always like super friendly with everyone and like goes and asks out all the girls and goes and cold approaches every woman. Like, I don't need to be. If I want to, sure, yeah, I'll go for it. But I don't need to as well, and I don't need to feel bad that I don't either. Just that things evolve naturally. And some days that will just mean like I don't feel as sociable, and rather than hide from that, which I have been doing, which I haven't been able to accept in myself, which I've thought, oh, if my mask slips and I'm unsociable, like they're gonna hate me, they're gonna reject me all, and that's what's made me scared, like being rejected in that way. But if my mask does slip in that way, then that's okay. Like that's just me living. That's like normal. Can't be supercharged all the time. And I think if anything, living like this and accepting that some days I am naturally more introverted, so I am naturally not going to want to spend as much time out with people. I think me accepting this rather than just hiding away from it and being scared by it and not confronting it, I'm ultimately going to be more sociable. I'm ultimately just going to accept more of my life and then of who I am, and then I am going to be able to be more sociable and stuff because I'm not scared that they're going to reject me, because I'm already thinking, well, if they do, they do. Like, I accept who I am right now. I accept that could be the case. So I guess the takeaways are that I feel like I want to become more disciplined, because it will allow me to do more things in my life. Discipline equals freedom. I also feel like I can accept myself more, and I can move more from positive reinforcement rather than negative. And I don't need to do much with my life, just as long as I'm living every day by following my purpose. And that's all I really need to do. I don't need to distract myself with I don't need to distract myself either way. I don't need to distract myself with aspirations of becoming the best, the biggest, the most insane person in the world. Like, or like insane isn't like a great person or for something. Nor do I have to think I can never achieve anything like that, and just punish myself now just by giving in to like satisfy like shit food and ruining my life and all that stuff. There's a middle ground. There's a middle ground, just contentment with who you are and just working towards the goals and purposes you have. And then finally, I guess it's following this positive reinforcement. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope that was cool. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found value in this. I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you guys in the next video.